Hi, my name is Herminio Ortiz, and this is my presentation on the work as done in ATC and UAV safety. Things to go over my presentation is what is ATM, air traffic management, um, air traffic flow management, airspace management, air traffic services with inclusion of air traffic control advisory service, flight information service, alerting service. We'll be going to National Airspace System and the U.S. integration to ATM. In regards to all this, I will be including a lot of human factors details in all the slides pertaining to that subject. In the air traffic management, every airport has a branch of this entity. Uh, the picture pretty much explains what their a common practice of theirs is. It's integrated collection of managements that collect all of the airport for getting passengers from all the way from TSA to takeoff. ATM is a huge entity that is broken down into three main groups: air traffic flow management, airspace management, and air traffic services. Air traffic management goals are safety, economically, and efficiently completing their making pilots complete their flights. Air traffic flow management is a group responsible for gather up all the data from all sources and companies. Human factors could create some risk by not delivering the proper information to the correct person. Some people feel like they need the need to no they have the trust in other people providing the information that they need. They could miss some information. Um, the setting of the airport, so they set the schedule is set by this between that way there's no heavy flow at a certain specific time. It gives airlines the slots available to fill the correct takeoff and landing for the specific airport. It's a big matrix of what's going on, where they take off, where they land, but for the most part, they do want to space it out as much as possible. There's always go arounds. There's always the tower telling the pilot to fly around in case there's too much crowding. But typically, they do have the right amount of spacing between airplanes, that way they can land, get out of the way, and go wait for the next airplane. Airspace management is the biggest connection between civil and military. That is focused actually on the airspace. Um, from all the destinations to destinations, all the pilots are pretty familiar, but it really depends on the training of the new one. This is where forbidden areas are expressed, very common around the whole U.S. for military reasons. But pilots know what to avoid. Human factors doesn't play much into it. The flight paths are previously mapped out, and the instruments will tell you if you're approaching a no-fly zone. Yeah, unless you're unfamiliarity with the flight pattern, the UAV will have the flight path planned out prior to takeoff, so it should never be an issue. But there's always, for anything we do, there's always a risk. The air traffic services is a big picture operators who are able to see what everyone else is doing or planning. This does include the tower, but there's other entities that gather everything together to know that everything's running smooth and that nothing's out of place. There's plenty of risks for the human factor because of all the moving parts of the system. Um, and of course, the biggest responsibility is to prevent collisions in midair or on the ground, making sure the pilot has right of way at all times. And this is the entity that's officially given the authority to give clearances to take off and land. The National Airspace System um, is another one, just because it involves more international. Um, that's just kind of a wake up call that the human factors isn't only just in the United States. Uh, Companies flying internationally do need the common denominator of the languages and how to operate. Um, every country has their own specific guidelines, but English is the main language of the aerospace. Um, Common practice is the only way to get the true familiarity between how to fly international. As a U.S. as the U.S., every country has a no-fly zone as well, so that's just another implementing the human factors. Like we just have to be know that our common practices should be other countries' common practices. The U.S. integration, the ATM, they're being implemented pretty well as they come up more aboard. Um, Most don't need airports; so they could just kind of just take off, depending on what the service is, or if there's a drone, or if they're an actual like an airplane drone. They typically flow low altitude, aside from military, but that's we'll continue on. There will not be many international airports, so there's less chance of error. I can't see any unmanned flying out of an international airport for any reason. Sorry. The military has their ways, and they just need to coordinate to show the flight path to any manned airplane that's within their system. Um, I know the tower uses a code name, so they're able to see which military planes are flying around. The way they could that's a proper way of communication to know where everything's at. The military has their ways, and they just yeah. Radar works the same manner to know who is around and what altitude. So yeah, so the drone itself will have a radar. That does that the ones that do fly in the altitude of the commercial airplanes. And then for normal drones, they're restricted even if the operator is trying to fly past into getting somewhere else. So it's never been an issue unless the system is updated or there's a glitch or something. And the U.S. operators will keep the same reactions and responsibility of rules of any other airplane. Just because you're a drone doesn't mean um, you get forgiven for any new rules or anything. If anything, you have more rules in a commercial airline. Here are my resources that I used. Thank you.